and I have kids that, well, they're not quite ready, but we want to give them the tools to succeed. And that includes how to deal with bullies. Bullying can take all kinds of different forms: verbal, physical, in person, even online, but they all have something in common. And we are here with child psychologist Dr. Ziegler with advice for parents. So let's start with what it really means to be bullied. What does bullying mean? What is considered?
So there is a power differential in which one person uses an aggressive act to make someone else feel small, scared, or intimidated. So that power differential is one of the biggest things we're looking for. And there are a lot of different kinds of bullying now. There's that social relational bullying. That's just the, oh, there's no room for you here. Oh, you're not cool if you don't eat this. Oh, if this is only the cool table and you belong here. That's the social part. We're seeing that a lot with girls. Then there's the physical one, which we probably kind of classically think of, right? And it's not just knocking you down physically, but it's also knocking down your laptop. I can't tell you how many times kids have laptops that are broken, things that are stolen, backpacks that are thrown. So it's also can be objects in that way. And then there's, of course, just the verbal part, just intimidation. If you don't do this, then this is going to happen. And so there's that element of threat.
And the anonymity of online bullying is a whole different story. And we could talk a whole different morning about that.
Right, the cyberbullying piece is another bucket. And that is one that probably feels the most out of control because it is more private, it's online, kids try to deal with it on their own, and then it usually escalates.
Okay, so let's talk about the risk factors and what you can do about it.
So, you have the risk factors when you're a quieter kid. When you are a quieter kid, there is a perception that somehow you are weak in some way. And that can just be you're really nice, or you're a little shy, or you're more quiet. So there's power in numbers. That's really important. There's power in being an upstander, and that's what we need to teach kids. Of course, on a global level, we need to teach empathy. But what we have found really is that the greatest way to prevent this is a culture in a school in which if you see something, you're going to say something. You're either going to say it directly to the bully, you yourself, or the friend. And what we know is also friends and peers are more likely to intervene than even adults. Adults seem to still be having a harder time kind of knowing when to intervene and what to do. So the research really says it's actually up to the kids. And so a culture of like, hey, I just heard you say to somebody that they can't sit here, or I just saw you knock that out. That's not cool. And so believe it or not, that's what actually says it stops it in its tracks.
So using those words, so important. What about telling an adult, finding the teacher? Is that considered tattling, or is that something we should be encouraging them to do as well?
We should absolutely be encouraging them. What we know is that peers are probably first, and then telling an adult is so important. And so tell a trusted teacher, a guidance counselor, find some adult that you trust and let them kind of work with principals and parents and all of that. But it's not easy with the adults. Adults have a hard time with this.
And parents, so important to have this conversation with your kids at all ages.
It is.
Thank you so much for coming on. We'll be right back with Pet of the Week.